Okay. Hi, and welcome to Sue Rogers. I am unedited. Oh my gosh, I already messed up and we don't edit. So you'll get that there, but I'm Sue Rogers and I have a long friend of mine from way back as my guest today. So Catrina Owens is with us. She actually just published a children's book. So we're going to hear a little bit about that. Maybe we'll dive into the topic of perimenopause because she and I were actually just talking about this via text message the other day. But Katrina, introduce yourself. Tell us about the book and how you ended up writing this book. Like, what's it about? Give us all the information.
So the book is Finding My Happy, and it's a children's book. I wrote it because, um, so I have dealt with depression for a long time in my life. Probably, I think I first started antidepressants when I was like 22, 23, something like that. And probably continued them on and off for like 20 years, like on and off them, on and off them. And then when my son got older, he started like experiencing it as well, but he really didn't want to do the whole pharmaceutical thing because, and at the time I didn't realize what his issue with it was. Later he told me, but he was around 20 at the time, 19, 20. And when you do if you do antidepressants, like over the counter pharmaceuticals, whatever, they tell you, like certain age groups, they're not the best for because they can make it worse. So he did have a friend who ended up on antidepressants and commit suicide, and he was his age. Terrified. He's like, I'm not touching those. I will not. I will not. I will not. But he was so bad. Like, I was worried about him, like just suicide, like either way, because he was just getting so bad. So I started looking into just other like natural remedies or just other things that I could do. There are a few different things that I came across, and one of those things was just like mindset and the way you think, and just learning to control your own thoughts and just your own feelings, and just learning to control yourself, really, because it's funny because in society we go around being like, you made me feel like this, or you made me feel like that, or you made me mad, when really, no, like that was your choice to feel like that. Just like these days everybody's offended at everything, which I find so weird. Everyone's offended at everything, and I'm like, but why? Like, it has nothing to do with you. You're choosing to be offended, you're choosing to be mad, you're choosing to be upset. Nobody did that to you, you did that to you. And so like just like diving more into like the manifestation stuff and just the way you think, the way like your thoughts control things, all that kind of stuff. And so I would try to talk to him and sit him down and be like, well, like if you would just think more positively, or, this and this and this. And that sounds so stupid. That sounds so silly when you're talking to an adult and you're like, be positive. And you're like, seriously, life sucks sometimes. It's not so easy to just be positive about stuff, or like, focus on the good. And sometimes you're like, I can't find it. So but there is always good. There's always something you can focus on. There's always something, like, even if it's not something happening right now, like a past experience or whatever, you can always change the way you feel. You can always change the way you think. You have so much more control over your thoughts and your feelings than you give yourself credit for. So then I thought, well, if you could teach your children just from a young age to think this way and control the way they think and the way they feel, and just all of that, just from like the age of 4 or 5, that just becomes a natural thing. Like when they're feeling bad, they think about this, or whatever it might be. So that was kind of where my thinking went, was, my gosh, this would be so easier if I had known this when he was 5 years old, and I could teach this to him when he was 5 years old, and he just grew up thinking this way.
Mm-hmm.
So it may have been too late for me to teach that to myself or to my son, but I figured if I wrote a book, I could help somebody else teach that to their children, so that when they're 19, 20 and going through this, telling them think positively doesn't sound like such a stupid thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. I'm so glad that you're on here and talking about this, because that is awesome. And what a cool thing to be able to offer people to read. Like, it's so simple, but to be able to introduce it, because reading to kids is huge. Like, when there's statistics out there that kids do better and are better off when you read to them as a child. So to have what you're actually reading to them teach them things that are useful for themselves throughout their entire life, like you have done in this book, is pretty cool.
Yeah. So I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I think there's got to be better ways to do things than like pharmaceuticals and stuff. Just like we were talking about, even with like, the premenopause and the menopause, there's natural ways to do stuff because this stuff has been around forever.
Yeah.
So just popping a pill that you got from your doctor isn't always the right answer. If you could just learn to control the way you feel and the way you think and the things you do, I just think that that would just make such a huge improvement on your life overall, even as an adult. Like, so I say this children, it's a children's book, but at the same time, if like you just like think this is just weird and like how do you do that, like this is the starting point. If you could just grasp this, because I made sure I put in there like little things to focus on that anybody could, like, anything around you, like nature, like your pets, your sibling, your friend, whatever, not just like, oh, my nice car, my nice house, because not everybody has that. So just kind of little things to focus on, because there's always something to focus on, even just small things. I was talking to a friend of mine just the other day because we went to she has a food truck, and this weekend I did an event with her and it was at the racetracks. And it's so crazy because we're sitting in this food truck and there's like, 5 or 6 of them around, and there's all these people walking through and you're just watching everybody and they have all this food and like just ridiculous amounts of food. Like stuff we shouldn't even be eating, to be perfectly
Yeah.
honest with you, like stomach ache just looking at it. And I'm thinking, wow, there are people in other countries that don't have anything. And here we are at this event with, which one shall I choose? And then which one am I going to eat next and next and next? And it's like, and then we can't find things to be thankful for. How weird is that? Like there are people that are thankful in other countries that don't even have food and water. And we're over here with like absolutely everything going, well, I have nothing to be happy about. Like you do.
Right. First world problems.
Yeah, right. It's so crazy.
It is. And right, like there's like even simple things, like you said, like go outside, be in nature. Like there are miraculous, really cool things happening outside. Like I've been spending a ton of time outside, actually putting the effort into my garden that I started a few years ago, but it's not the most successful garden ever. Baby steps, like I'm learning as I go, but the fact that I started I'm trying to grow green beans for the first time. And
Okay.
I did a row of them outside and nothing happened. So I thought, okay, maybe these seeds are bad because I've had them for a couple years thinking I'm gonna plant all this stuff and I haven't yet. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna try them inside because a lot of things apparently you're supposed to start as seeds inside, and then when the plant gets bigger, then transfer them outside. So I
Okay.
was like, let me see if these green bean seeds are even any good. Sure enough, I got 2 of them to actually grow inside. I just 2 or 3 days ago moved them outside and they're still alive.
Yay.
But how simple of a thing is that? And I'm super rewarded by it, and it makes me really happy because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm creating and growing this new plant and keeping it alive and seeing what's going to happen. And that's something that is super, super simple, that connects us back to earth and nature, that we're supposed to be grounded in for our health and wellness and many other things.
Yeah. Yes. It's that. And then like we were driving back because we were in Sacramento no, it wasn't Sacramento. It was Monterey, where I was in Sacramento a couple weeks ago. It was in Monterey, and even driving back, I'm like, everybody's in a rush these days for everything. We are so like every single minute of every single day is occupied. We don't spend time just by ourselves. We don't spend time in nature. We don't spend time with loved ones. It's I'm busy, I'm busy, I'm busy, I'm busy, I'm busy. And it's so crazy to me. I'm like, my gosh, we were not built to live like this. No wonder why, as a society, we were so unhappy.
Yeah, unhappy, unwell, just so many things going wrong with our bodies too.
Yes.
Like I feel like I 100% relate to that from pre 2020. like everything was overscheduled, overbooked, a million things going on. And then 2020 happened and I was like, oh, cool, I get a break. And then the break went on forever and I was like, okay, 2020, you're kind of fucked up. And then we all know how things went from there. But since then, I've really not allowed a lot of things to come back into my life. And I actually, so, right, my daughter's back in public school after we homeschooled for 3 years. My son's been off at his first year of college. I've had so much downtime this year that half of me is like, you should be doing more stuff. And the other half of me is like, nah, I'm gonna do jack shit for a while and work on
Yes.
and just sit around and hang out with my dog and hang out with my mom. And then my husband comes and goes for his work schedule because he kind of makes his own schedule. So I'm around when he comes home and I very much am cool with it. And it's very hard to get me to go anywhere, to go to anything. So I'm like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. Like,
Yep. I don't know if it's like a certain age bracket that happens at though, because my friend and I are like, once I hit 40, I just felt like I just didn't like, I didn't get the whole like, what is the fear of missing out, whatever it is, the FOMO. I don't get FOMO. Like I really just don't. I did the other day. I did because I didn't get to see the Northern Light thing that was going on. So I really miss like that. I missed that. But other than that, I really don't like. I'm cool at home. I'm cool not going to the party. I'm cool not going to the event. Like I am so good. Like, and it's funny because you bring up 2020, and I think that's what did it for me too. I didn't realize how rushed I was until you can't do anything all of a sudden.
yeah.
And
yeah.
like for me, it was just me and my son living in my house. And it was great because it was so peaceful. And I got so much stuff done in my yard. And I went traveling and I did all this stuff during that. And it slowed me down and I didn't have to feel guilty about it. Because my problem is I always feel guilty about it. Like, oh, I should be doing more. I should be doing this. I should be doing this, 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 and this. And then that slowed me down to where I didn't feel guilty about doing nothing. And it made me realize that, wow, like, that was taking so much of my peace, just being busy so often. So when I need to, sometimes, you just think like, even like with the book, you think about a time when like you were just relaxed and peaceful because it brings back that feeling. I literally think of that because I'm like, I didn't feel bad for not doing anything. And it's so weird that we feel bad for just being sometimes. Like, I feel like I always have to be doing something, 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 something. And I'm like, that's so crazy. Like,
Yeah.
no wonder why we're so sick all the time.
Seriously, right? And like, I'm curious, like, where did that stem from? Like, why were we so ingrained with that and not learn to just take our time and, right? Like, what I'm sure there's some theory, somebody has a theory behind it. I haven't looked into this one yet, but I'm sure there's some conspiracy slash means it's partially true theory as to why that is such a way of life that was pushed on a ton of us. But
I
like,
think it's social media.
social media,
I think because you see people going all the time, and it makes you feel bad for not doing the same. Like, I feel like, well, not just social media, I'm sure there's a lot of factors, but I feel like once social media started, it was kind of like, oh, well, they're doing this and this and this, and people are doing so much stuff, and it's hustle, hustle, hustle. You gotta have a side hustle. You have to have this, you have to have that. You need this other job, you need this other car. Then like you get on your social media and there's a new car, there's a new house, and I want that, I want that. Like, it's so right in front of you all the time now, as to where before, like when we were younger, like we didn't think about those things because they weren't like in our face all the time. I didn't feel bad for not, being in style all the time because it wasn't in my face all the time. Or everything is so in your face now that like you just constantly feel like you have to keep up, you have to make more money, you need a side hustle, you need this, you need that. And it's crazy. It's like I can't fit all this stuff in my day. But then you feel bad not doing it. You have to be the perfect mom. You have to be the perfect, pet parent. You have to be, the perfect housekeeper. You have to be like the perfect employee or job, whatever it is you're doing. And it's because it's so in your face with TikTok, with Facebook, with Instagram, with everything. Like everybody's perfect but me.
Yeah, right. And that's like, more so with my daughter than with my son. Um, but with him too, it's I like very real because they're growing up in the world of social media, right? And so we haven't been like, no, you can't have any social media, right? So like my daughter's finishing her sophomore year, my son's 19. So it was never like, no, you can't ever be on it. It was like, hey, you can start off with this one, but I have full access to it. And here's what's up with social media. Everybody's going to put their perfect life on social media. And most people's social media accounts are nothing what their real life is like. It's
Yep.
all fake. They're all filtered. They're all just like, finding the best place to put a photo background or whatever. Like it's all staged. It's
Oh yeah.
all, so if you can go into it knowing that what you're looking at is all mostly just fake and not most of what people's real life is, then we're gonna be okay.
Yeah. And maybe that's easier for boys. I don't know. Like my son's just not that into social media. He just, and I feel like most more guys are not than girls. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just feel like boys are just not as into it as we females are. And it just doesn't affect them the same. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, there's like I forget where I saw it, but there was like a statistic showing of I want to say it was suicide rates of teen girls and how it massively jumped since social media. And it's for like, I forget exactly what age group of teens, but it was for females. And it's because like at that age, our like, what's the word I'm looking for? Naturally, within like our development, all of a sudden we hit puberty and we hit an age where we start caring about our appearance and we start caring about what other people think. And that's naturally occurring because that's how we end up finding a partner, a mate, creating a family. And like it's a natural phenomenon that happens to females as part of our puberty and growing into potentially having kids and caring about relationships and family and caring about that kind of thing. So it still happens at that same age for females, but now you have bullshit social media on there that's telling them what to care about and what to think about, where that never existed before. So now you already have this like teenage female who's trying to figure out all these crazy ass changes that are happening through puberty,
Yeah.
let alone come out of puberty later, which we'll talk about in a second. But you've got all these weird things happening to your body that you're just trying to get used to your new turning into a woman body. But you also have the emotional and relationship connections that are going on with trying to, care about your appearance to attract a mate, and then care about relationships to be able to have a family, familial relationship going on. So you add social media into that age bracket, and it's no wonder these poor teen girls are having such a hard time. But you also have to, like parents, we have a massive role in trying to navigate this with them, but also keeping things as real as possible. Like, okay, here's what you're seeing. It's fake. We can put a bunch of fake pictures of our life on there too and make you
Yeah.
look all great, and it's gonna make other people insecure and whatever. Just know that like everyone's just trying their best, but also be having realistic conversations with our kids.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like I feel for boys and girls, especially at this day and age, because just so many things going on. But for girls, it's like, it's crazy. You turn on social media, and I try not to scroll too much. Like I'll post stuff or whatever, but I try like to watch whatever I have popping up on there. But it's so crazy for girls now because I'll look on there and it's like, there's all these filters, and then they're being told, oh, you have to be this, you have to be this, you have to act like this, you have to look like this. But then there's the complete opposite. So there's all these girls, and I have nothing bad or negative to say about the girls that wear a ton of makeup, the lashes, anything. You do what you want. If that makes you feel good, you do that. But then it's crazy because you go on social media and then you have all these guys making fun of it. Like You're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. If you look like shit when you go on social media, then everybody's like, oh my God, her hair, her lashes, like maybe she should put on a little makeup. Maybe she should do this. But then you do it. And then it's all the guys or girls, you know, like, oh my gosh, she's going to fly away with those lashes. Oh my gosh, this and too much makeup. And it's like, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. So these poor girls are just trying to maneuver through life and just be normal. And they're getting made fun of either way. And it's like, my gosh, like it's so hard. Like for us, I feel like once I hit 40, I just quit caring. Like I'm single and eventually I'll meet somebody, but I just don't care anymore. If you like me, cool. If you don't, cool. We don't have to hang out. Like doesn't bother me anymore. It used to, but I can't imagine having grown up with like, you have to do this. No, you have to do this. You have to act like this. No, you have to act like this. And you add all these things onto there. Now there's all these different genders and now there's so many things that you have to figure out now. And I'm like, my goodness gracious, like when we were little, we just had to figure out what we were eating for lunch. Like
Yeah,
that.
right. Um, yeah, it's crazy. And even lately, like, because I'm with you on the like, right? I hit 40. I'm officially 43 now, but yeah, hit 40, and I was like, oh, I am done with everything.
Yes. And it's funny because I heard that before and I was like, whatever. No, yeah. I can't imagine it being like that. But when I hit like 40, I had a lot going on when I hit 40. So like 41, 42, because now I'm 46. I just don't care. I just don't. I genuinely don't. I've realized, okay, like you have to be careful who you hang out with, not because they're bad people, but they're going to rub off on you. And if you hang out with really negative people that are gossiping and doing that kind of stuff all the time, it's going to wear you down. You're going to be exhausted and you're just not going to be in a happy place. So it's okay to tell people like, I'm your friend, but I don't, you don't have to hang out with them. Like you don't have to make yourself so accessible to everybody. And it used to be like, oh, so and so needs this, they need this, they need this, they need this. So I was so busy doing everything everybody else wanted me to do all the flipping time. And now I'm just like, I just don't care anymore. Like I'm just fine with it. I don't need to do it anymore. I don't care.
That actually goes for me too for some relatives.
Yes, absolutely. And I think it's okay to just say, you know what? Certain people I just can't be around because of the way they make me feel. That's
Yeah.
okay.
If you go somewhere, if you hang around with people and you leave and you're exhausted, you should not be hanging out with those people. And it doesn't matter who they are. Like you can still love them from afar or every once in a while say hi to check in, but you don't have to physically spend time with people who drain you because life is too short for that shit.
Absolutely. Yes. And so it's so funny how, and I think a lot of this stems from 2020. People have become so self-centered and so self-absorbed and like everything is me, me, me. But even like because we're talking about social media, on social media, like it blows my mind because like I'll get messages from guys I don't know you. And for me, if I'm busy, I'm not looking to date on social media. It's not why I'm just not. If I was, I would be on a dating site or I would be isn't there now a Facebook dating site or whatever? But it's like every social media platform is now an outlet for someone to hit on you. So, but what gets me is when guys hit on you and you don't respond because that's not what I'm here for. I don't owe you a response. I don't know you. I don't owe you anything. But then I will straight up get like guys, they will message you, message you, message you. You won't say anything. And then finally, you're a bitch. I can't believe you wouldn't respond to me. You owe me at least a response. I don't owe you anything. I don't know you. But everybody is like so entitled and they feel like you owe them, you owe them, you owe them. I owe you my time. I owe you my response. I owe you like,
Is
where did that come from?
happening to you on social media?
Oh, yeah. Oh, totally. I will be totally called out on like what a horrible person I am because I won't respond to you. And I owe it to you to respond to you. No, I don't. That blows my mind. Like, who are you?
Yeah, like what is wrong with these dudes? Like, yeah.
And I don't know, maybe women do that to guys too. I don't know. I just don't experience that because I don't have women like messaging me that kind of stuff. But I do. I will get guys that are like, well, you owe me this and you owe me that. And I'm like, or you owe me, I'm owed at least a date. Why am I the one that owes you that? I've never even met you. It's just so crazy to me how entitled people are now. I'm like, what? This is blowing my mind. I just can't even say anything to it. I'm like, I could get into an argument with this person, explain to them why I don't owe them anything, but I don't even owe them that. So I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah, you owe them zero. If anything,
yes.
They deserve to be blocked so they can't ever contact you again, because that's
absolutely
ridiculous.
So it's society now just blows my, maybe that's why we're okay staying home.
Maybe. But yeah, like everybody's just like, oh, me first.
Yeah, that's why I had to get out of the restaurant business finally. I just couldn't do it anymore. People were so selfish. Me. I remember when I was working in the restaurant during the pandemic, and the restaurant I worked in, we were one of the busiest restaurants because we had 2 patios. And so everybody had to sit outside. Well, it used to have like you could smoke out there, cigars and stuff because it's next to the cigar shop, all that kind of stuff. But obviously during the pandemic, when everybody is shoved onto a patio, you're not allowed to light up. So I would literally tell people, like, I had this table of like 10 guys, all probably most of them in the 20s. This guy was graduating. He was just now got his law degree. So he was the shit. And they all had these cigars sitting up. And I specifically told them, you cannot light that out here. We have several like tables with children on them. Like, you can't do that. And they did it anyway. And then they had the audacity to say, well, why can't you ask those parents to take their children somewhere else? Are you joking? And this happened more than once. This was not like a one-time thing. On multiple occasions, we had people that wanted to smoke on our patios that asked if we could ask the other people there to remove their children so that they could smoke, because that's what they wanted to do. And so after they lit up the cigars, I went over and I told them, you're not allowed to do that. I already told you that. And they fought with me on it. We not only had to comp their meals because they were so upset because we ruined like their meal, we had to pay them for the cigar that they lit after I told them not to light it because they were so offended at the situation.
Oh my God.
You want us to kick the children out from eating so you can smoke a cigar? Are you kidding me? But we got it a lot. And it was just like, that just wears on you. And after a while, I was like, people have become so self-centered and so self-absorbed and just not caring anything about who's around them or the fact that they are in public or anything else, that just, I can't do it anymore. The way we get talked to, the way we get yelled at, the way everything got blamed on us, I was like, I'm done. I'm just done with people. Want to move up into the mountains and just be alone with my dogs.
Yeah, right. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, way back in the day, I think I was in high school. I was like, you know what? I could never work at a restaurant because if somebody asked me to get their ketchup, I'd be like, get your own goddamn ketchup.
Right. You got 2 hands.
Right? I thought about myself like way back then. I was like, no, I couldn't do it. I would get tired of people asking me for shit. Like,
what now?
Yeah. Give major props to people who do it.
Yeah, it is not easy. It is very, very hard to do, and people think it's an easy job. It is not. But that's why now so many restaurants are having such a hard time holding on to servers, because where I live, I've noticed like a lot of the people that used to be in the serving industry, they're not in it anymore. So the restaurants that are, they have like these kids that are coming in that don't want to work. They don't want to do anything. Like, they have attitude. They don't, people are complaining about them, but you did it. You ran all the people that were willing to help, like, do the job out because you were so mean and so disrespectful and so unappreciative that they don't want to do it anymore. They don't want to deal with you anymore. So it's just like, I don't know. Like, it even blows my mind when I'm out in public at the store and people are like walking around with their speakerphones on, and I'm like,
God. Yeah. Like,
no shit's given for anyone else.
Yeah. Like, we don't all want to hear your conversation.
Yes, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're so self-absorbed and so important that you think everybody in here wants to hear what you have going on in your life. It's crazy to me. It's not
right.
like, yeah,
Not just hear it, but they're like fucking FaceTiming the person at the same time too. Like what the
right?
fuck are you doing? Like, what?
Yeah,
Just go see each other in a minute. Like,
yeah. Yeah. Why do you got a car? I don't know. Talk to them in your car or something. I don't know. I just feel like nobody cares about anything but themselves and like whoever like, is like right there in their little crowd or whatever it is. Like, yeah, it's pretty nuts. So I
yeah,
feel for kids these days because I can't even imagine.
yeah, right. Like it's bad, but there's also like the people that I'm friends with that are kids have all kind of grown up together. We all are kind of all on the same page with how we've been raising our kids. So you see a lot of this bullshit out there, but there's also people like, I imagine probably your kid too, from knowing who you are. There's some hope from what I've seen, from the kids that are on my son's volleyball team that I met. Like I have glimpses of hope that, especially the kids, like, because your son, was he still in high school through all the stupid bullshit distance learning COVID stuff, or he graduated already?
No, he had just graduated. Like he had just graduated.
Okay, so like the kids, my son was a sophomore when it happened, so like they were the ones who like really went through it. They're I pulled him out of the bullshit because I was like, no, you're not playing guinea pig on my child while you figure out what the fuck you guys are doing. I'm pulling
Yeah.
the kid and going from there. But what those kids all went through, there's quite a few of them that I'm like, even when I talk to them, I'm like, you guys should be mad about that, and you should be mad about that for the rest of your lives. Not that to carry anger, but to not forget what was done to you by the powers that be, saying that they cared about you, but they didn't give a shit about you. They were following some bullshit agenda and didn't care about you guys at all. You should always remember that for the future so that it never happens again, and that you can help potentially change things that are coming on the horizon, because those kids are all now able to vote this year for the first time. Not that whatever the voting system, however that really works or doesn't work,
Right.
but they're getting to the ages where they can actually, start being a part of solutions and calling out the bullshit that they all lived through firsthand
Yeah.
through their high school years and junior high. And
Yeah. And the good thing is they do see the bullshit, as to where when we were their age, we didn't see the bullshit. Maybe that's a good thing with social media, is like it is out there. So I
Mhm.
do feel like that age group though, there's definitely hope with them because they're more sensitive. They're more sensitive to the issues that we have. Like when you're so even the whole thing with like, the whole 4B movement and like all this stuff about like the bear and the man in the woods and all that kind of stuff. I don't feel like that's that generation. I feel like the younger men, they actually like understand women better and they're more compassionate. And like I feel like there's actually hope there. I feel like the problem with a lot of society is not even that age group. I feel like they're finally coming up and actually wanting to handle shit and fix things. So
Yeah,
I feel like that's the problem. I feel like I don't want to put a certain age group as being like the issue, but I really don't feel like, your son's like the whole 26 and below, like, I don't know, 18 to 26. I feel like that's going to be the age bracket that like comes up and actually changes stuff. Like
yeah,
they see it happening and they're like, we're done with this and we're going to fix this. And it's going to be men and women. I think it's going to be both of them because, well, they see it all and like they're not afraid to speak up anymore. And I love that. Like they have these platforms where anybody can speak up and say something now and, get their point across, as to where it used to be like you had to have, status or influence or money or whatever for anybody to hear you or to put your face out there or anything else. But I feel like that's actually our hope, is that generation.
yeah, yeah. I very much feel that way with those kids. Like it's gonna be rocky for a little while longer, I think, but
Oh, for sure. They're definitely going to have to learn a bit of work ethic, because that's one thing I feel like they're lacking a little bit of, is that age group, is like the work ethic that I've noticed. Like working in restaurants, we work with that age group a lot. And I'm like, oh my gosh, did mommy do everything for you? Like, come on, step
yeah.
up. So yeah, that part is kind of going to be tough, but as far as their minds go and just like wanting to change things, like I think it's about time.
Yeah, 100%. Well, hey, we're at 35 minutes.
Oh.
I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up, but I should actually see if we can do multiple people, because one of my other girlfriends, we started talking briefly about perimenopause, and she actually has a bunch of information too.
Oh,
So that's
really?
like maybe we should do a whole group
That
on,
would be fun.
because there is so much information on that that I still don't even know. But the more of us that can talk and share about things, the better. So we will probably reconvene on that topic. But before we go, where can people find you? Where can people find your book?
So my book is on Amazon, and then it's going to be in like Barnes and Nobles and some local bookstores. It was TBN that published it, so I don't know exactly everywhere that it's been distributed. I know they said Barnes and Nobles, local bookstores, but since it's like literally all over the US, I couldn't say, oh, it's this bookstore, this one, and this one. Like, I have no idea. Otherwise, the easiest place I find it is just go to Amazon, order it on Amazon, but I get everything on Amazon, so I don't want to leave my house anymore.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
yes, you can.
that
Yeah,
part.
exactly. So you can just type in. I put it with my first and last name, Catrina Lynn. Just type in Catrina Lynn, and then it should pop right up. And then yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I think I'm actually gonna, I don't have kids anymore, but I think your book, to read it, to have, to then be able to send to whoever, once I've read it, I'll know exactly, it'll come to me. Yeah, I need to send it to so and so and so and so. And I,
Right.
what a great gift too, that's not just toy junk garbage lying around the house, like something, a book. I'd rather give books than toys anymore these days. So
Oh yeah, exactly.
I look forward to getting my hands on it and reading that. And yeah, thank you so much again.
Thank you.
You guys know where to find me over on my website, balancedaylife.com. Like, subscribe, share. We're on YouTube, Anchor, Spotify, and then have an awesome freaking day.